It was supposed to be a perfect weekend, a celebration of love, a chance to dress up, laugh, dance, and watch two people start the next chapter of their lives. But before I even made it to the wedding, I found myself in the middle of a scene that would change my relationship forever. I had been invited to a colleague's wedding. We'd worked together for years, and when the invitation said I could bring someone, I knew exactly who I wanted by my side. My girlfriend of a year. She loves weddings, always talks about how magical they are, how much she enjoys the atmosphere. So when I asked if she wanted to come, she was thrilled. We don't live together, so on the day of the ceremony, I drove to her place to pick her up. We had time to spare before the event. I imagined we'd enjoy a quiet drive, maybe stop for coffee on the way. But when she stepped out her front door, my breath caught for all the wrong reasons. She looked stunning. Her hair and makeup were flawless. She had clearly put time and effort into her appearance. But the dress, it was off-white, ornate. Not just a casual summer dress. It was the kind of dress that, in the wrong setting, could draw the kind of attention no guest should want at a wedding. I smiled, told her she looked amazing, and then, as gently as I could, I asked if she might change into something of a different color. I'm not a man obsessed with etiquette, but I know one of the few rules everyone seems to agree on. You don't wear white or almost white to a wedding unless you're the bride. It's not about old-fashioned notions of purity. It's about respect. It's about not competing, even accidentally, with the person whose day it is. She frowned immediately, asked me what was wrong with her dress. I explained my concern, even tried to make it lighthearted, calling it wedding law, to soften the edges. But she rolled her eyes. She told me it was an outdated tradition, rooted in ideas about women and virginity. She said at her friends' weddings, everyone wore white and nobody cared. I reminded her this wasn't her friend's wedding. This was my colleague. We didn't know how the bride felt. There was no all-white dress code printed on the invitation. So why take the risk? Why not choose another color? I thought it was reasonable. I thought it was kind. Even protecting her from possible embarrassment, protecting my relationship with people I see every day at work. That's when her voice changed. She accused me of trying to control what she wore, said it was abusive. That word hit me like a punch. Abusive. I have a personal history with that word. I know the weight it carries, the damage it can do if thrown carelessly. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. I told her, well, you shouldn't go to a wedding with an abuser then. And then I told her to get out of my car. We were still in her driveway. I didn't abandon her on the side of the road, but I was done with the conversation. She started to cry, said she wanted to apologize, reached out for a hug, but I couldn't do it. I told her to get out, and she did. I drove off. She called. She texted. I sent back a single message. I don't want to talk right now. Then I turned my phone off and went to the wedding alone. And when I got there, I noticed something important. The bride was the only one wearing white. My gut had been right. When I got home later, I turned my phone back on to find it flooded with messages. From her best friend, telling me I was inconsiderate, controlling, that I owed her an apology. I vented to a few friends. Most sided with me. A couple said I'd overstepped, that it wasn't my place. But I kept thinking about the look on her face when she called me abusive, and about the fallout I might have faced if I had walked into my colleague's wedding with someone dressed like that. Days later, something unexpected happened. She found the online thread where I'd shared the story. She called me. We talked. She apologized. I apologized too, for the words I'd used in the heat of the moment, for letting it escalate instead of diffusing it. Then she asked if she could come over, and I said no. I told her it would be best for us to go our separate ways. She got upset, asked why I wouldn't even try to work it out. I told her goodbye. And then, just before hanging up, she said my dick was small. Oddly enough, that made me laugh. After a tense and almost mature conversation, she went for the cheapest insult she could find. And that was the end. I won't lie, breaking up hurt. We'd had good moments. She'd made me happy. But I kept thinking, if this was our first real disagreement, and she went straight to calling me abusive, what would the future look like? Would every conflict become a character assassination? Would every no be turned into a weapon? So I walked away, and here I am, wondering, was I the asshole? Maybe I could have handled my words better. Maybe I could have been calmer, more diplomatic. But was it wrong to want to respect my colleague's wedding? To avoid putting both of us in a position where we might offend the bride on her own day? So, am I the asshole? And now, stepping back from the heat of it all, here's what I've been left thinking about. Sometimes, the most revealing moments in a relationship aren't the anniversaries or the vacations. They're the pressure points. The moments when one person says, "I need this," and the other person has to decide how to respond. How we navigate those moments says more about the future than any romantic gesture ever could. I keep coming back to the word she used, abusive. Words like that aren't just labels, they're loaded weapons. When they're used carelessly, they can cut deep, and not just into the person they're aimed at. They erode trust. They poison the ground you stand on together, and respect, whether it's for a partner, for a friend, or for the couple whose wedding you're attending, shouldn't be negotiable. Sometimes it means bending your own preferences. Sometimes it means choosing not to make a point, even if you think you're right. There's a time and a place for personal statements. Someone else's wedding is rarely it. I've thought a lot about the line between controlling and caring. In healthy relationships, that line is defined by mutual respect. If one partner asks for something reasonable, not out of insecurity, but out of consideration for others, listening to them isn't submission, it's partnership. So, I'll leave you with this. How do you handle the moments when your values clash with someone else's pride? When the choice is between standing your ground and protecting a relationship? And if someone shows you, early on, that they'll turn a disagreement into an attack on your character, how many chances do you give them before you decide you deserve better? What would you have done?